Alright, good afternoon everyone. How are we doing today? Good? Good, awesome. My name is Finn. I'm one of the members of the rescue team here at SeaWorld Orlando. Welcome to the Rescue Center. Y'all have some pretty awesome timing. If you were here a couple minutes ago, you might have seen me and some of my teammates removing a gate from this side of the pool. And you guys may be able to see that there's a gate on that other side of the pool. So if you guys can see right now, we have two different sides of manatees. Usually this is all open, but it's currently closed off because we just moved a couple orphan calves out here. So we're one of only a couple facilities that can take in orphan calves. Being orphans means they were found without mom, right? So they depend on her not only socially, right, so they follow around, who they learn from out in the wild, but also nutritionally because they depend on mom for milk. So being found without her is why they come to us. When they first come in, they're going to get around-the-clock bottles. And we're going to make our own manatee milk formula for these animals and warm it up so it's nice and warm just like mom's milk would be. As they start growing and progressing, that is when they're going to be able to take that next step and be able to come out here to this main habitat. So, if you guys can see, they're kind of hanging out here. We just opened up this, where this little gate would be. We just opened it up like 15 minutes ago, so they're kind of figuring it out. So the largest manatee over here, this is Cypher. So he was an orphan calf who has been out in this habitat for about a month or two now. So he's kind of more adjusted and it's going to be a good way for them to kind of figure it out, kind of follow his lead. And then once they're nice and comfortable in this side of the habitat, we'll be able to open up this gate and have them interact with all the other manatees. These older manatees kind of act as like the surrogate mother figure, so they can kind of interact with them, learn with them, etc. So with these orphan calves, again, as they start growing and progressing, they'll be able to come out here. We'll also be able to start backing off on the bottles, so they'll kind of start weaning themselves off as well, because we want to be able to get them onto their main source of nutrition, which is going to be this romaine lettuce. Currently, we're going through about 50 plus boxes of lettuce every single day, but in the busy season, which is usually the winter time, so we're kind of getting there, we can get upwards of 100 boxes that we're going through every single day between all the manatees we have in rehab. So it's a lot of lettuce. And we do give them some other nourishing, fun, enriching snacks as well. You guys can see some floating over there. So some things include green leaf lettuce, iceberg, kale, spinach, just to kind of change it up for them, make it fun. But again, that main source of nutrition is going to be that romaine lettuce. So Cypher, again, the largest manatee calf on this side, he's down to only 1 bottle per day. So again, as they start growing and progressing, they're able to kind of back off. So he's on 1 bottle per day, and these other kids that just came out here are on a couple more than that. So what we do is we tap on the water in that back corner of the pool, and that's what signals for them that it's time to come get a bottle. So they will kind of swim up and be able to get their bottle. You guys can see they're eating some lettuce back there as well, so they're getting nice and settled out here. And again, in a couple days, we'll be able to open up that gate and have them all interact. So these guys are going to be with us for the next couple of years, just eating, growing, playing, interacting with the older manatees. They will be eligible for return. They have to hit a minimum of 600 pounds. So that is the minimum weight that they have to hit before they're eligible for return. All the rescue rehab and return that we do here is mandated through the state. So they're the ones that tell us who can go, when they can go, and where they can go. Here at SeaWorld Orlando, we are one of only a couple critical care facilities. So we see animals for all different sorts of reasons, not only the orphan calves. We see animals with things like foot strikes, propeller wounds, entanglements. We also see something very commonly in the wintertime called cold stress. So manatees are warm water dwelling animals, and if that water starts to below 68 degrees Fahrenheit, their body basically starts to shut down in something called cold stress. So we do see a lot of those animals come in the wintertime. So to combat that, these manatees are usually going to go to the freshwater springs because they stay at a beautiful 72 degrees Fahrenheit all year round. So it's the perfect place for them to spend the winter. That's also going to make it a great time for us to return these animals. A lot of times they will have us return, especially the formerly orphan calves, in the wintertime into the springs. For the most part, it's a pretty closed-off area, so it would be a nice, safe place for them to start back their journey. And then they can also follow around these other manatees, and as the outside waters start warming up, they start making their way to other water systems, they'll be able to follow them out. So these formerly orphan calves will be set up for success as they navigate being back out there. And again, all the rescue rehab and return that we do is made through the state. So they'll say who can go, when they can go, where they can go. And so on the other side of things, you guys can see there's some really large manatees over there. So the largest manatee over there is going to be Sarah. She last weighed in over 3,000 pounds. So she's a very big manatee. And again, they kind of act as that surrogate mother figure for these animals. Being a critical care facility, there are times where partner organizations will bring us an animal for rehab, so they'll do the rescue and then they will bring them to us for the rehab process. There are other times where we will go out and assist on rescues. We have everything we need to be able to do that, so we have all our boats. We have a rescue truck. I like to talk about that because I think it's pretty cool. Because as I mentioned, these guys are really big, hundreds upon thousands of pounds. When we're in the field, we're simply using a team of people to help lift these animals. So we lift them in stretchers, we're working together, doing a lot of heavy lifting to get them up in the stretcher. So that truck has an automated lifty, so we're able to lift them up into the bed of the truck. It's nice and foam padded all the way throughout, so it's nice and comfortable during transport. We have a generator back there, so heat, AC, lights, everything that's going to make it nice and comfortable for the animal. And also for the staff, we are always going to transport the animals with staff in the back of the truck as well, because we want to keep an eye on their respirations, their behaviors, and make sure they're nice and comfortable during transport. Another thing we'll keep back there is a water sprayer. So these guys obviously live in the water, but they are able to be out of water for prolonged periods of time. That water sprayer will just help keep their skin nice and moist during transport. When these animals first come to us, they're probably going to start their journey in one of our critical care pools. If y'all can see the two green awnings behind me, those are two of our critical care pools. What makes them critical care is that they have a false bottom floor, which is basically they're able to lift these animals up out of the water very quickly. This is super helpful because usually the critical care animals are the ones that need the most help. So whether that be any sort of wound care, any veterinary appointments, if they're not getting the proper nutrition, not eating as they should, we can basically make like a green juice. We blend up spinach, lettuce, water, some other nutritional elements, and we can tube feed it to the animals that are again not getting that proper nutrition. And so that floor is super helpful. So both pools up there have that false bottom floor. If I have anyone wondering how to get these really heavy animals up to the second story where those pools are, that's a great question. Our best way to move these animals is going to be a crane. So that is going to be the way that we are able to lift them up. So we'll have the animal in the stretcher. We tie off the ends of the stretcher with rope so it's nice and secure. And then we basically say we fly these animals up to the pools up there. It's also how we're going to be able to weigh these animals, which we do very frequently, because that can be a good indicator of how they're doing, right? Because if they're gaining weight, maybe they stop gaining weight, maybe they start losing weight, that can be indicative that maybe there's something else going on. So we are constantly keeping track of that weight and their progress as well that way. So every animal is unique, so their rehab process is going to look a little different depending on what their needs are, what they came in for, etc. But our goal here is to rescue, rehab, and return as many of these animals as we can. As of today, we have rescued 57 animals since January 1st, so 57 manatees we have rescued. And when we hit January 1st again this year, it just completely starts all over again. So we are just constantly taking in as many of these animals as we can and getting them back out there. When these animals first come in, they're going to get a full primary exam by one of our veterinarians. So they're going to do a full body exam, they're going to take a blood sample, and they're going to start creating that individualized treatment plan for each animal. It's super helpful. We have our own on-site veterinary laboratory, so that's where we're able to run all of our own blood samples. We also run our water quality samples every single day, so we want to make sure it's in the correct parameters for these animals. We also have an on-site pharmacy, so just like if I was sick, if you were sick, you had to go to the pharmacy to get medications, it's the same thing over here. We're able to fill any of the medications that we need at the on-site pharmacy, which is super helpful as well. I like to remind everybody that these animals are protected under the Marine Mammal Protection Act, which means we cannot interact with these animals at all out in the wild. That can take a lot of different forms, but any sort of touching, chasing, following, harassing, feeding, these are all interactions that are considered illegal. And so we just gotta help these animals by respecting them, giving them the space that they deserve. Another way that we can help these guys is making sure we throw all of our trash away, throwing all of our fishing line in the correct receptacles like I have behind me. We do see animals come in with some pretty severe entanglements. We did also see an animal who had swallowed a fishing hook. So again, it's super important that we are doing what we can to pick up all of our trash and all the things that are polluting their waters that they call home. Another big one is making sure we're going nice and slow in those no-wake zones. A lot of times, manatees are found up at the surface. For the most part, they're pretty slow moving as well. They can get quick bursts of speed, but they're not going to last very long. It's just very short bursts. So a lot of times, if they are in these critical habitats and those go flying through there, a lot of times they just don't have enough time to get out of the way. We do see a lot of animals come in with some pretty severe boat-related injuries, such as boat strikes, propeller wounds, etc. So making sure we're going nice and slow in those no-wake zones is another great way that we can help protect these animals in the waters that they call home. I highly recommend that y'all check out the underwater viewing for these animals. You'll be able to see not only all of the manatees, but also the rescued sea turtles from down below. You're just going to go all the way to the right-hand side of the habitat, follow that path downstairs, and get to see all of those amazing animals in the Coral Rescue Center as well. I just want to take a minute and say thank y'all so much for hanging out with me for a couple minutes. And more than that, thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting us, because we couldn't do what we do without y'all. If you have any questions, I'm going to be hanging out here for a couple minutes. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day here at SeaWorld Orlando.